Welcome to Reflections, a program where we discuss values and virtues for the transformation of the individual and the society in general. I am Father George Ehusani, and I have with me in the studio again my friend Dayo Omoogun. Dayo is a publisher of Balance magazine, a journalist.
Yes.
You're welcome to the studio.
And please add interfacenewshub.com. Interfacenewshub.com.
interfacenewshub.com so that you can check it out.
Exactly.
And So once again, the last time we met, we discussed about Nigeria. How did we get here? I mean, the mess we are in today as a country, on the security front, on the economic front, on the political front, on the front, the social front. How did we get here? We lamented on how things have gotten. Now, I want us to discuss the way forward. How do we arrive at a country of our dream? What do we need to do in order to get to the country of our dream? This is the only country that we have. Even our people who are going outside the country, many of them daily, they are watching the news and they are lamenting. They may be having good electricity, safety, blah, 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 there, but their hearts are at home.
Exactly.
How do we create a country that a lot of those people can return to and contribute their talents to the development of this country? What's the way forward?
I think, Father, that we must consciously have a mind shift, a mentality shift from this deplorable morass that we're in to a place where we can appropriately prioritize what our values are, what are our expectations.
Values prioritization.
Exactly. I mean, our values have become warped over time, where the things that, where we find a situation where the things that ought to drive us, or the things that we ought to drive, are the ones that drive us.
Things we should be ashamed of are being celebrated.
We generally need a reconfiguration of our mindsets. And that's why, thank God, there are still a few churches who are doing the job. We need to have those kind of churches. We need to have a way by which churches, we have associations. We have the Christian Association of Nigeria. We have the Pentecostal Fellowship of Nigeria. We must find a way by which there are maybe seminars, maybe leadership seminars within the church, where all churches can bring resource persons, and then we intermingle and say, look, we hear that this is what happens in your house. Please, this is not going to help us as a group.
If
you have a brother, if you have our brothers, and certain things are happening in their own homes, it's not happening in your home, but it's happening in their own home. When the scandal breaks out, you can be sure to be rubbished through it. So you would take advanced steps to try to stop it.
What is happening in Nigeria is on account of the general impunity all over the place. Because other countries, many other countries are not like that. You have to set up a church, there are minimum standards that must be broken. And it is government that sets the minimum standards, in consultation with the Christian bodies or Muslim bodies. What is happening now, even on the Islamic front, with all these fanatical jihadist extremist groups, is something similar. That there is no control as to who can be a preacher. And so you have certain ultra fanatical groups, preachers, who are, fomenting trouble.
Exactly.
And training people to go destroy.
Exactly.
It means that religious groups, if I am to reason along the line you are talking, must actually work from within to rein in.
There are people.
Those people who are going out and
messing up everybody.
Opening up houses of prayer left, right, and center without.
There must be standards. Yeah. There must be standards. There just must be standards. I may not subscribe to a situation where maybe a government defines who becomes a preacher. Because at that time, we'll be going back to a time in Nigeria when...
It is to agree with government on certain minimums by which which you must meet before you set up a house of prayer.
Okay, so it will still come from within.
Oh,
It will
yes.
still come from within. Agreed. So until we have that, then we're joking in the area of the churches. Because today what you have is shame. I mean, for people who have a sense of shame,
Well,
it's
it
very,
is
very shameful.
It is problems like this that lead to society setting rules and laws.
Exactly. I think we're getting there.
I think we are getting
to a crisis situation that will provoke solutions, that will provoke the setting up of minimum standards, that will provoke a situation where if you cross the line, your title will not matter. See, we need to get to that point. We need to get to that point. Then we also need, because you see, what a parent doesn't have, he can't give. Now, a lot of parents were not raised well, and I say this without any... They themselves lacked training. So what you can only give what you have. Now, the churches should be in a position to help these parents.
Yes, of course. I mean, training in parenting should be a major task of
Exactly.
the church.
We find today there are churches, for example, where you have... they take marriage counseling very seriously.
I mean, it's supposed to be very serious for us.
They take pre-marriage classes very seriously.
Yes, we have a 3
counseling.
months. We have a 3 months preparation for any couple that is married. A minimum of 3 months preparation.
Good.
Every week, meaning at least 12 weeks
of training.
Of training. And they have to have a certificate that they have gone through this.
Good. Now, likewise, there ought to be a continual training for parents for as long as they have children under their care.
Yes.
For anybody who still has a child that is from infancy
to 21
to about even 18, even if you say 18, a child that's 18 and has been properly trained. You heard what I said my son sent to me, that look, we've had sufficient home training that should make you not fear, that we should be able to behave well wherever we go.
Out there.
Exactly. That's what it's in my phone. And that's a 22-year-old boy. And it was, I mean, the subject matter was 2002 to now, that's a 20-year-old sister. So they have had so much, they believe they can stand tall
on their own
and not bring shame. I mean, what else can somebody... If a child is well trained up to 18, that means at 18 he has already finished secondary school.
Yes.
These days they finish at 16.
17.
Good.
Yes.
So those are the real formative years. If academically, if they've been brought up well at this point, spiritually, if they've been raised well, I mean, in terms of maybe domestic chores and everything, they've been well tutored. I mean, about how to relate with people. The fact that you must know that your liberties...
18 is the age of majority. So, you're supposed to be able
to stand on your own.
And in traditionally, that's when you can actually go to the university.
Exactly.
Because the university was a free society.
So, at that point, nobody's going to really micromanage you.
Yes.
Very good. So, based on what you have learnt from home, from school, from high school, you're expected to be able to carry on. So we have dwelt
on church
training. Yes,
we have dwelt on church. We have dwelt on leadership of churches, the kind of people who can set up churches, what the churches should do.
The other thing we need to talk about is our reward and penalty system. Our reward and penalty system is warped. I mean, we find out that the persons we reward are the persons who should actually get penalized. We reward them with chieftaincy titles. What kind of people you are
talking about? Chieftaincy titles.
We reward them with chieftaincy titles. We reward them with high office. We reward them with plots of land. We reward them with all kinds of things. We reward them even with free women and say, take this one as wife. Until we change that, nothing is going to change. I mean, you find a situation where someone is working very, very hard, works very hard, but doesn't get any promotion, doesn't get anything. And so that person who is cutting corners is making so much money, is making so much noise, and then you sit back, no matter how holy, no matter how saintly you want to be, there's a time that you sit back. In fact, if you don't want to go inward and check yourself, there are people around you. Even your children will ask you, all these your saintly things, you can't even put food on the table. You can't even put food on the table. So what is this all about? Are we supposed to starve? Now, when you get that kind of feedback over time and nothing is happening on your side, you begin to get into it. You begin to
our reward system.
Yes, your guards begin to go down.
The lack of sanctions is still part of the reward system.
That's what I'm saying.
The lack of sanctions.
People get away with anything.
For atrocities.
Yes, people get away. They just get away with anything. We're in this country. For a country, for a regime that prides itself as being led by a Megaskia, and people were, I'm sorry, but people were held and jailed, and in less than 2 years or thereabouts, they are freed.
They are out.
Because you have prerogative of mercy in a place where you are trying to stop corruption.
The mere fact that the Accountant General of the Federation,
look at that,
can be accused of 80 billion
one man
fraud. The Accountant General. In countries where they do not have EFCC or ICPC, it is Accountant General that is responsible for probity,
ensuring
for fiscal probity. So, and that is a country that only shortly before, even the person in charge of EFCC was being probed.
Exactly.
So
you can imagine.
When it comes to probity or accountability, we're on the ground.
Exactly, on the floor. So those are the things that we need to do if we're going to get a game back.
Reward system.
The reward system is flawed.
So it means the kind of people that we project
are so wrong.
I was speaking recently at a school graduation, and I said, from Jiri in Abuja, from Jiri through the airport to town and beyond, who do we see on billboards? They are either entertainers, some of them vile entertainers.
Very vile.
Or they are rich people whose sources we're not sure of.
Exactly.
And young people
are drawn
to what they see placated before them.
Mm-hmm.
On social media, who are those placated there? Entertainers, often vile entertainers.
Exactly.
Then I began to ask people, what have we done with the memories of our heroes past? Heroes past that may have no money, people like Tai Siolani, for example, Gani Fawahimi, for example, Ayodele Awojobi, for example, people like Bala Usman of ABU, for example. What have we done with the memories of some of those who have contributed the most?
Even in entertainment, we had persons who did entertainment purely.
Victor Waifo.
Exactly. You had a Chris and Ibokwe. Such people.
Onyeka Owenu.
Mao Gosi. What's her
Sonny
name now?
Okosun.
People like that. So, but those are not the kind of persons that have been promoted.
Why all of a sudden that it is people who can strip themselves naked on stage that are the popular the entertainers?
These are the things that we must address. And we must address them both by setting standards and by enforcing them. Because it's one thing to have laws. It's another thing to make sure that those laws are enforced. I think that's the area. It's like a lot of times we have all kinds of plans. We have a medium-term economic whatever. We have a long-term plan. We have 5-year plan. We have development plans. We have all kinds of. We have an annual budget. But what's the real problem is the fact that these things are never enforced. We have all kinds of laws to deal with all kinds of breaches, all kinds of offenses. But how are they enforced?
Now, when it
comes to a big man, it is overlooked.
How do we get people, a crop of people, a critical mass as they call it, of people who recognize that the way we are going, we are heading towards destruction? As they say, if you do not change your course, you will end up where you are headed.
Exactly.
So how do we get a crop of people, Muslims and Christians, Northerners and Southerners, to recognize that, look, we are where we are because we have compromised all major values that should get us somewhere. That these are our main problems. Values, the lack of values.
Yes.
So, can we start working on recovering these values, teaching people. Now, the next question is, who are those to do the teaching?
That's the real problem. Again, an answer to that would be that the media also ought to be in the forefront of this. You were just talking about entertainers. Who are the kind of entertainers being projected by the media?
I have seen in recent times that those in the various media houses responsible for entertainment, the only kind of entertainment they know are the vile entertainment.
Exactly, and that's what is being promoted, right, left, and center.
That's all they know.
Oh,
so how are you going to get the people in the media to start promoting responsible, clean entertainment? If the people who are in charge of entertainment in the media are this, then there are people in companies. We have brand ambassadors.
Exactly.
And they are not so young.
Good. Yet, it is this same kind of people that they want to promote their businesses.
Corporate managers in companies are picking vile entertainers. Mad people.
Yes.
Are picking them as brand ambassadors.
So, what do you want the children to think?
And these are the people that young people are following. So, how do you reach those ones?
Yeah, like I said, we need to have a consistent, well planned out enlightenment strategy, which should be driven actually by government.
Something like National Orientation Agency.
Exactly. I mean, we still remember, up to now, many years after, we still remember the work of Professor Jerry Garner.
Yeah.
And that's the same National Orientation Agency that you do not know whether it even exists right now. So, I think that people have to really take up their jobs and do them. For example, we just talked about National Orientation Agency can do a whole lot in this.
They have offices in every local government in the country.
Yet nothing is being propagated. That's one veritable opportunity, one veritable platform to deal with this kind of situation. But where is it? If you go there, they'll tell you that funds are not being allocated to them.
So you have the structures, meaning National Orientation Agency in every state, in every local government, and they can do a lot.
They can.
Now, what's the other sector? Schools. We said that one of the challenges with schools is that who are those to teach this?
Who are those to teach this? Now, again, I was talking with on another platform somewhere, and we saw that in some places, some, not all, in some places where schools have reverted to missionary owners, the results have been positive. Should we then look for a way by which these missionaries get, for those whose schools have been taken away from them, all get their schools back, one, and should we find a way of ensuring that missionaries, if you can find real missionaries, if you can find real Christians, if you can find real Muslims, people who believe people who truly believe
in service,
in service, and who truly want a future for our nation, people who are concerned about, if you have those kind of persons, can we post them around to schools, for example, for a stipend, for an honorarium, and say, look, we post 3 of you per school. All we need you to do is to emphasize on the ideals of spirituality, is to emphasize on the ideals of living pure, is to emphasize on it's not CRK, it's not
moral
regular
education.
CRK. Exactly.
Moral education.
Exactly. You need to think of others. Think about others. Don't always think about yourself alone. Right now, we have in homes situations where partners think only of themselves. Partners.
Can we, as we end this program, can we delineate what, when you say our problem is values and we need to recover these values and teach these values, what are these values? Can we name them?
Good. Now, I think that honesty is one major value.
Honesty, yes, which we need to promote in families,
exactly,
in churches, and in across.
Yes, across the
honesty.
We need to promote chastity.
Purity, and chastity.
Exactly. You find all kinds of diseases all blossoming everywhere because of the level of promiscuity all over the place,
and including perverse forms of sensuality.
All kinds of things. And then to make it worse, we're in a technology age where the thing can come to your doorstep. even innocently. It can come to your set,
phone without
you asking. So the work is huge. Now, so we're talking honesty, we're talking chastity, and then we're talking, please, can we reward the right kinds of persons?
Good.
Can we reward the right kind
Revisiting
of
our reward system.
Very important. Please, can we reward the right kind of person? If somebody is a gate man and he does his job well, can he be sure that he will get his reward? And then all these stories of, teachers get their reward in heaven is part of the reason why they are also part of the mess right now.
Yeah.
Please let them get part of their reward right here, and then get the rest in heaven. Every one of us is going to get rewards in heaven.
Can we mention deferred gratification?
Oh, that's correct, because that's what chastity is about. That's what honesty is about. A person who cannot defer gratification, I mean, we'll do anything. We'll fall for anything. You find today, and these are the teachings, then teachings must be corrected. There has to be a way by which teachings are moderated, are monitored and moderated, and where they've crossed the line, they are, blotted out. And such propagators are dealt with. For example, you find out today, if somebody finds, I forgot my charger here when I came the last time downstairs, when I had this other engagement. And then I didn't quite know exactly where I forgot it. I went to about 2 other places that day. I called those places. I didn't really think it was here. But eventually when I didn't get in those places, I called back to this place. And somebody took it up and said, okay, I'll help you find out. And then before you know it, I picked up my charger today. It's been over 1 week. And I said to the person, I said, this is a good testimony about this place. What do you find? People find something that belongs to another person and they say it's a blessing.
They steal it and they say
it's a blessing. I will never forget. Many, many years ago, I was working in Lagos. And we had, I don't want to mention the particular organization, but they had 2 factories in the Ikeja area. And then we were moving from the Oba Akran factory to the Ogba factories. Those who know the area may have an idea of the organization. And then I was going, because sometimes you could choose to eat at the cafeteria in the Oba Akran place, or you choose to go to the Ogba place. And then we're going, and I saw brand new words of 2020 naira. At that time, all these big denominations was not there. Brand new, fresh. And I looked at it, and I passed. You know, I was raised at a time when there will be so much fear was put into us that, if you pick money on the road, you could become a stone or something. And so I passed. Shortly after, a young lady was coming towards me and said, please, she's looking for her money. Please, did I see any money? And I said, yes, it's there. She went, ran and picked it and came back to me and couldn't believe what had happened. And because of that, we became very close. If she's watching this, she's based in Benin now, she would recall this. And I think that should still be what.
Finally, what about discipline?
Oh, there's no. I mean, I grew up in a very, what
home
teachers in those days were. I mean, there was a time to go out. Everything was. What's the word now? Everything had what was like.
There was a schedule for everything.
A schedule, and you dare not break it. You dare not. If we don't bring those things back,
we're not going anywhere.
We will continue to go into the ditch.
On this note, I will bring this discussion to an end. I've been speaking to Dayo Omoogun. He's a journalist and a publisher of Balance Magazine, and also the online one,
InterfaceNewsHub.com.
InterfaceNewsHub.com. We have been discussing Nigeria, how we got here, and the way forward. Our prayer is that we will indeed, there will be a critical mass of Nigerians who see that we are in a mess, so that we can only begin to look up and get a better society for our children and children's children.
Yes.
Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Father.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.